are extensions, and they should listen to what these youngsters are saying. They should listen and improve their systems. Remember that the so-called Band 1, the scholarship is only 70%. 25% is loan from HELB, which is giving them trouble applying. As to whether they'll be given the 25%, he should confirm. Number 3, the 5% is from the household, which is 30,000 for students taking medicine. Can we compare this with the differentiated unit costing that was there before this model? Would a person like my good Senator Dr. Boni Khalwale, one of the most prominent doctors of medicine those days, whose parents were Changa brewers, would they be able to access Kenyatta University and UON to pursue medicine and become distinguished doctors of medicine? They should tell us, when Ringera and my good PS were in the university, they were funded by government, they could shower milk and use chapatis as towels, just out of pocket money. Today, they are in positions of power, they are denying the same students money to enjoy the privileges that they enjoyed. Okay. Today, we have even that HELB they are saying. The universities are struggling. They give a notice that HELB has been approved. They take ages to send the money. And because the vice chancellors are appointees of government, they cannot come out and complain. Okay. They must be joining and tell us that their so-called systems are not efficient, and that we must go to a system that will enable a learner apply with ease. And the PS must push for increased funding. In fact, as we speak today, the future is uncertain. We have a 22 billion deficit in the funding.
Rigera will answer that, but let's see what PS has to say. PS, what do you think is occasioning this delay?
Let me first of all respond to the issue of the school fees, whereby based on the differentiated unit cost, we know half the story the government was to pay 80% of the cost of the program. But parents, and through support from HELB, they were paying 16,000, a flat rate of 16,000. So that means the first semester they would pay 8,000, and the second semester they would pay 8,000. Assuming this was the case, because it was not, when you look at the range of what the students and the parents will pay in Band 1, that is still, on average, very comparable. But away from that, our good professor here should tell us the truth. No university ever charged that 16,000, Trevor. I am telling you the truth. It ranged from 39,000 to 70,000. And I would want you to invite me here again with some of these students so that they can tell you the truth, that they never really paid 16,000. And so that was some of the anomaly that we were correcting with this model. Why? Because they'd pay something for medical, something for library, something for registration. So we said, these are your administrative costs. Lump everything together, and we just want to have one cost. So now we are talking about an average of 50,000, Trevor. Right now, even a student in Band 1 will pay only 30,000. But before, they were paying an average of 50,000 with the differentiated unit cost, when education was supposed to be very affordable and the fees were supposed to be low. Let us face the facts. This new funding model is the best thing that has happened to university education in this country.
And there's something that's coming through here, Ringera, that he mentioned in terms of help delays disbursements. And I think, Roba, you've seen someone has sent me something. Danson Mukile has sent me a screenshot of him trying to apply using the index number, and there's a red flag there. It's written failed. The KCSE index number cannot be used to register. You just said we can use it.
Yes, I'll continue saying that we can be able to use it. I think there are two classes.
But this is your website right now, or should we put it up and see?
Yes.
Robert, put that up and see.
And those are the individual cases that we are sorting out because of one reason or the other. One of them, the phone that person is using might have been actually used in our system before. So that will give you that error, because the email that we pick for that kind of a student who is trying to apply, that email is then retained as owned by that student. If that email was ever used by somebody else in the past, then you will have that kind of a challenge.
But the index numbers are different. So what are we using here? Are we using email numbers of phones or index?
No, remember, index numbers is to identify you and go back to school and be able to pick who are you from NEMIS all the way to KUPS. So that is important for the index number. So that I can know this is Trevor Obija, who was in Moi Primary School and went to Highway Secondary School and went to Daystar University, who has been picked in Daystar University by KUPS. So that is the importance of the index. But then they are using a gadget which they must disclose also the number of that gadget in the application form.
But the website doesn't pick the gadget, Ringera. It says the KCSE index number cannot be used to register.
That's a unique case for a person, unique case. Like I'm telling you, Trevor, I have over 30,000 index numbers fully applied and seated on the system of the 78,000 that we talked about.
So what should Danson Mukile do?
If
the one who sent me
we have already given where you should be able to send that number. Is whatever you're seeing, contact center at help.co.ke. We have also the trunk line that we have given there. When you get into that problem, what do you do? Let him see the page down there on what you do, because that is indicated down there what you need to do. Send this here, or call here, or do an email here.
Okay.
Let
him respond. Let him finish.
So that's how you are treating those ones. Now, there is something else that teachers have said.
Yeah.
Why are we taking subsequent applications through the same process like year one? That is not the truth. What is happening in the situation that we have is that subsequent applications, it's a very short process. *642#. What does this help us? It helps us by knowing that this student is the one who applied in year one and he is within the learning system. Now, the problem with the old funding model was government was funding students without knowing are they still in school. Some of them are no longer in school. They have fallen out of the system. Yet, scholarship will still go. Now, this system says we must know you are still in school and you are in need of funding. In situations where you are not in need of funding, you don't need to apply for subsequent applications. Now, there is a message I also said earlier on. Using DOB that was given by NEMIS when they were completing KCSE in 2023 December. We know the students who are above 18 and they require to be having an ID. Those ones, the system is flagging them, and that could be the case that you are actually having. Those are the ones we are telling, when it flags you like this, contact these contacts so that then we can be able to flag that you're above age. Your ID may be delayed for one reason or the other. As I told you, I have a 21-year-old who has successfully applied after being whitelisted, on the index number, and he is successful. But now in the subsequent, and remember also you'll have a challenge in applying for your bank account. Because now when it comes to paying your upkeep, we'll have a problem because you will not have opened a bank account, you don't have a mobile phone, and that is what is also helping us in terms of the students accelerating their pace in regard to getting their IDs.
So now let me ask you a simple question here, Ringera. You're talking about IMEI numbers. If a parent in the village has 2 students going to university, you're saying you can only apply for one if they don't have IDs, both of them? Because then it's the same phone that has to apply for the second one. So you're saying you can only apply for one because the IMEI has already been used.
Remember, that IMEI mainly was talking about the subsequent ones because they are the ones who are coming with the 642. The first round application.
Let's get this clear, okay? So a parent has a phone. The students don't have a phone. There are 2 of them going to university, okay? He uses the first index number. You say it will go through. They say it's not going through. In fact, we've even tried it again in our website right now. It says the same thing. Index number cannot be used. We can put it up for you to see. But you're saying the IMEI number may be the problem in this situation. You can see it right there.
The IMEI I was speaking, Trevor, was mainly for the ones who have already applied with us before. Because those ones, we already have their details. And that is how we pay. We pay them through the mobile phone and all that. These ones, if you ask this person, he will tell you they are above 18, but they don't have an ID. That is where they are flagged already, and we go through whitelisting them. And that's why they are told, when you see this, go to this process. These are the contact this person, this call, or right through contact center, and those are the ones we are whitelisting, and then they proceed.
Okay. Let PS come in. I'll give you a chance, Ken.
With your permission, I think we really need to emphasize this, because this is we have a solution to this problem, and it has not been, I think, understood. When a student is over 19 years old, that the system will detect that they are over 19 years old. And so they will not automatically be able to upload their documents, but they will get a message: contact this number, or send an email to this number. So at that point, that student must reach help so that they can be cleared. Then they can apply using that KCSE index number.
Okay. So they have to get clearance.
Yes, they have to get clearance.
Okay.
Let me just ask Dr. Ringera and PS a simple question. Whose responsibility is it to give national IDs? If the government, through its indolence, has delayed giving citizens their entitlement of a document, why are you transferring this burden to these innocent children? Why are you assuming that every child has a phone? Why are you assuming that every child can access internet and a cyber? This, to me, is a disservice. Number two, you have details of these students. These students have not been strangers throughout their schooling process in Form 1 to Form 4. You have their details. When they sat for their KCSE, you asked for their birth certificates and everything. Why are you asking them to reproduce this information before they can access scholarship and access funding? What are we doing between the time of completion of Form 4 to the time of application? If I remember the differentiated unit costing very well, students used to apply for the university entry while they are still in Form 4, before they start their KCSE. And those who succeeded had very easy time with the Joint Admissions Board. They may have been few those days, but it was working. And when Dr. Ringera is telling us that the issue of certificate, that there are unique cases, you know, in law of anything, once the unique cases exceed the normal cases, now the normal cases become unique. It's therefore unique that 30,000 people's applications have gone through, because over 48,000 have not gone through. So what are we doing to salvage the 48,000 students who are unable, through system failures, to make the applications?
Okay. And also, as you say on that, Jkia Mtata here sent me a tweet saying it does not allow you to apply if you're above 18 years or without an ID, and who finishes school with below 18 years. Why can't the developers just develop a good system? And he has attached a KCSE index verification help feedback email that you're talking about, that says, kindly note that after checking your documents, it's unfortunate that we are not in a position to assist because you are already above 19 years old. Please liaise with the registrar of persons to get your ID and apply. So now it's your fault you don't.
Let me weigh in on this issue of IDs.
Yes.
And as government, ours is to offer solutions. And the fact that we can actually assist these students to apply without that ID is a solution. And Trevor, we are talking about good citizenship. We are talking about patriotism. We are talking about people growing up to be responsible, to play their role in society. So if you let children who have reached of age not to, even pursue getting an identity card, I think we will not also be training them well. But what happens really is that these students are then advised to apply for the ID, and then with the evidence that they have applied, not the ID itself, with that evidence, they are then helped to register.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ringera. several issues that Chesa raised. Why
Yes.
do you assume that students can access phones and access cybers? And then you also said that why do you want them to reproduce this information, yet you already knew who they were as they were going through primary?
Remember, Trevor, even if we knew them through NEMIS, they must then come up and say, I am Trevor, the one you knew. That is how the system will be able to recognize them. Recall that when they went to COOPS to apply for a course program of their choice, the COOPS also used the NEC system and also NEMIS. That is how they were identified. And that is how they were known. But they had to say, I am Kennedy Echesa. Then the system says, pulls that information. The one who was high primary school, the one who went to Masile Murillo, you know, that is how it will be able to pick up. Now, why they apply again is for the system to say, to identify them as index number this, who was in this kind of school. I'll give you some statistics that are very interesting. Out of the 899, 495,000 KCSE candidates of 2023, as of December 31st, 55,000 did not have IDs. By the time COOPS was done with their placement, which is May this year, about 3/4 of those had already gotten out of the way. Now, what PS is saying is, it is your responsibility, once you turn the age of majority, to come and register yourself. However, she also went on and said, if one department of government is having challenges in terms of, you know, the numbers, if the numbers are huge, then we are making an intervention, but then with an alert. That is the alert which we are saying must be whitelisted, and the process of whitelisting is actually documented inside that message. It's only that maybe somebody is not pressing on that message to see who do I contact, where do I go. Now, you raise the issue of technology across the country. We have support system across all the Huduma centers in regard of having cyber cafes inside the Huduma center, where a student who may not have a smartphone, who may not be able to get a gadget like this one to be able to apply, can then be able to go to that Huduma center or any other cyber cafe registered within their locality to be able to apply successfully.
And Trevor,
Let them finish.
No.
Remember, government is going digital.
Yeah.
So we are trying to push most of the masses towards this digital space.
Okay.
Can
Let PS come in. I'll give you a chance.
Okay.
we are unapologetic
Yeah.
about steering our young people to be digitally savvy. And you know, as a government, one of our pillars in the bottom-up economic transformation agenda is the digital superhighway. You are aware that we are establishing digital hubs in every ward in this country. We are also moving towards the fourth industrial revolution. We don't want the benefits of the fourth industrial revolution to pass by. So we must prepare our youth to move with the times, to move us to the fourth industrial revolution. And it starts in small bites with the efforts like applying for help loan.
Okay. So why can't you have a system then, PS, that recognizes that sometimes during that transition there might be people who are below 18? Give them at least a gap of 1 year so that when the entry point in 2023 examination students, they just use index numbers flat out for everyone. And then the next year, because you're still updating the system anyway, then they get a chance. Because that's exactly what Danson Mukile is saying. Danson Mukile is the one who sent that screenshot of him being blocked from using his index. He says, just tell the CEO to remove the requirement for ID any student who did the KCSE in 2023. The coding there is just 3 minutes implementation.
Now, let me remind Mukile why we did what we did. There is a law of contract. Echesa is a senior counsel here. I would want Echesa to tell me if I contract with a minor, whether whether that contract holds in future if I want to prosecute Echesa. Sorry, I'm the one calling him out.
It's okay. He's here to answer.
Minors are not competent to enter into a contract.
Correct.
Okay.
So the cabinet intervention was very important. Now this person who is 19 and is not applying, is not applying for identification, or his identification has failed in one or the other, what we have done is then to try to identify that person so that we alert that person, you know, you have this problem, you need this document for you to be able to do a lot of other government services. So it is not a bottleneck we are putting. It's actually an alert that we are raising on you, that it is important for you to push for this identification to come out. And as I've said, the details are under there of what you need to do when that comes up.
Okay.
First, Dr. Ingera said here that students can walk to Huduma centers where they have help desks, where students cannot use their phones. Can Dr. Ingera tell students how many Huduma centers are in Kakamega County, for example, that they can access, and how functional they are? Number two, Beatrice and I grew up in a society where we used to have something called Nusu Kipande. Where has the story of Nusu Kipande gone to? Why can they bring Nusu Kipande and you use it for application? And number three, to tell these distinguished civil servants that they must climb down the tree and meet Jesus. You see, many Kenyans of age have applied for the IDs. We have cases over 2 years applications lying with the registrar of persons. They cannot help themselves. They cannot walk there and print IDs. Ringera is here saying that people are just seated, they have refused to go and pick IDs. Why then can you stop for a week and lecture government to provide all pending IDs for students who attained 18 in the past 1 year so that the application is seamless? Why can't you allow a student who demonstrates by the way of Nusu Kipande that they have applied for an ID to then use the 2-3 minutes and apply? You know, in societies like ours, the Kipande system was actually brought to discriminate against Africans. It's unfortunate that HELB is perpetuating the colonial mindset of using the Kipande system to discriminate against Kenyan children who have applied for this document. They have not been given, and they're being taken through the stress of applying without them and eventually missing out or getting the funding when it is too late.
Okay, I'll give you both a chance to respond, then I'll go to questions coming online. Yes.
Very clearly, and I want all Kenyans to know that once a student has applied for that ID, with that paper that shows they have applied,
the waiting card.
Yes, we clear them. We clear them for the loans. So please, I am encouraging all our students who are of age to go and apply for their IDs and present the waiting card. And with that, they will be cleared to proceed with the index number.
Okay.
Yes.
Further, I want to confirm, just like to buttress what the PS has said, even without a chance of that waiting card, we are saying once we whitelist you, you are able to apply. Please stop perpetrating the same point that you have said. People without IDs are not able to apply. They are able to apply. I've confirmed it to you. Over 30,000 applications of the 78,000 applications are done with IDs. So they are successfully doing it. With that notification that we have already given you, you have asked a question. How many Huduma centers does Kakamega have?
No, Western region.
Western, in all the counties, we have an Huduma center.
In Kakamega?
Yeah.
Kakamega citizens should walk from Budalangi to come to Kakamega. Budalangi, which is 130 kilometers on a bicycle, to come to Kakamega and apply. I was trying to tell you that the Huduma story is also a scam. All students cannot troop to Huduma.
Okay.
Look for an effective way of moving. When you are collecting taxes as a government, you are very techno-savvy. You even reach those without IDs and they have to pay tax. But when the citizens want to use these taxes, you want to send them from Budalangi to Kakamega to Huduma Center to benefit from their taxes.
Okay, that is not really your department, so I'll let you get away from that. But Tony Wekesa here, in all fairness, says that he's asking a question that why is it limited only to Post Bank? But he also has confirmed that I have applied without an ID. I just use my KCC index number. So that it comes online. But why is this limited to Post Bank only? The money that is being sent.
Yes, it is not limited only to Post Bank. Last year, when we went to the various banks that we work with, and we work with all the banks in the country as regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya. However, one of the KYC documents that you require to open a bank account is your ID. Now, once the cabinet then did that intervention, an administrative intervention, and said, let them also apply, even the minors apply, we had to make an intervention of what do we do with their payments. We then told them, try to open a minors account. And they tried to go to the bank and were not able to open in a bank. What they then did, they then said, put it in my parent account. And that is the account they actually placed there. When it came to payment, and we paid to the parent account, when we sent the money to the bank said the name of the recipient and the name of the account holder differs, and therefore they returned all the money back to us. And it is only Post Bank that was able to open a junior account. The other banks are trying to get through their risk assessment process to see whether they can be able to take it, including Safaricom itself, because now we have about 40% of our students receiving money on mobile pay. So those are other issues outside us that we may not be able to control. And that is why we are encouraging our students to apply. Don't only imagine it will be about help. Even when you go to where you'll be paid to the line that you'll be using, please know that you will also have other bottlenecks there. And therefore, that calls for why you should take action quickly and try to acquire your ID as quickly as you can be able to get.
There's a lot of questions coming from the public. Let's see if we can squeeze them in before because we're running out of time here. Let's bring up the first one and see what they're saying in their comments as well. Agumba Steve said, let the CEO of HELB tell his people to respond to emails on revolving issues, log into HEF and try using this without ID option as he watches, and let him respond why that message pops and solve it there and then. We are tired. He's given you the index number there and says name is Wilkista. Okay. Okay. Daniel Garanja says, my cousin started to apply for help, but later before finishing to apply, he realized that the ID had some mistake, that is wrong location. So my question is, should he continue or wait for it to be rectified? Let's go. Let's just answer them as we go really quick. Yes, Rigera. My cousin started to apply help, but later on, before finishing to apply, he realized that the ID had some mistake, that is wrong location. So my question is, should he continue or wait for it to be rectified?
Who has made the mistake of the ID? Is it us or him?
It's probably them on the other side, Daniel Karanja.
How does he know government has made a mistake on an ID number?
He's trying to log in. Because he has his ID number and his name as well. So he's trying to put it down there and he's saying that there seems to be a question. In terms of it's not going through, basically.
Two things happen on that area.
Yeah.
The NRB, National Register of Persons, is the one that registers and issues the number. That data is then pushed to IPRS. At times, you can have an ID which is in NRB, but is not available in IPRS. HELB uses the IPRS, that is the interactive system that we use. Now, if you get into such an encounter, again, we have said contact so and so that then that process can be cleared for your ID to be able to be available in IPRS.
This white list that you keep talking about, what is the way of getting there? Because are you saying that they have to literally walk to a center? If you go back to the previous message that sent us plus the index number, I'm sure this is the same one that was getting the error number that you can't use your index number. So what could be the issue here?
Because those are the over 19s.
Okay.
The ones who are 19 and above, that's a message they will see, but they have been told what to do.
Okay.
So that, and the process of whitelisting is us who will be able to whitelist so that you can know you are 19 and you don't have an ID, so that then you can successfully move in.
So what should they do for clarity purposes? Yes.
If Agumba Steve could share his number with you, Trevor, we will give personalized support.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's see. Let's move on to the next one as well. Here, I think this is what we answered just right now. My question is concerning single parenthood. I did my first-time application this year before a directive pertaining single parenthood was issued. Could this affect my application? Kindly direct this question to the HELB CEO.
No. Does it affect your application?
Direct answer is no. All right. Let's go to the next one. For 20 says, I'm joining second year first SEM in September. I did my first application using my birth certificate. My ID hasn't yet been processed. How do I apply for the subsequent ones?
We don't use birth certificate. Birth certificate is to prove your DOB, date of birth.
Okay.
The index number is the most important thing. So as and when they will be able to get the ID, then that's the time we replace the index number with the ID.
So subsequently they use the ID if the ID comes.
Correct.
Yes.
Index number still.
Index number.
Yeah, until the ID comes.
Okay.
Yes.
Ondimu Sydney says, how will students reporting to universities know the amount of school fees to pay? Some universities like Dedan Kimathi had their first year's report as early as July, hoping that the government scholarship and HELB loans will be disbursed today, which is the 5th of August. Yes.
So the universities are extending a lot of goodwill. because we are partners, we are collaborating to support the students. So no university sends a student away or asks a student to pay money before we categorize them. So like in Dedan Kimathi, I'm aware that some parents just offered to pay some money. However, it was not a requirement, because until we categorize the students and universities then establish how much the households contribute, the students don't have to pay.
So for now, they should learn for free?
It's not for free, really.
Because he's saying that they went to school in July.
Yes. Okay. I'm aware. And help was there. Help, you can actually weigh in.
Yeah.
They went to help them to apply. Some of those students had not even applied.
Okay.
So help went and set up a desk and helped them to apply. And so when we categorize, that is when the students will know and the parents will know how much to pay.
Yeah.
So for now,
you can add on to what Ondimu
and that information, because he's wondering, how will I know? In his portal, that information, once the categorization is done, comes out automatically.
Okay.
And they can see the award letter, how much is scholarship, how much is tuition loan, how much is upkeep, and how much is Mzazi supposed to contribute. Okay. And that is available also to the college, so that the university can be able to process, produce the letter of fees that the parent is actually supposed to pay.
Okay.
Now, I want to confirm what the PS is saying. Dedan Kimathi, which opened earlier than other universities, which are starting to open on 15th of August, opened and saying just walk to school as long as you've been placed in this school.
Yeah.
In fact, when we went on the ground there, we were able to process over 2,100 applications on site. Together with their parents, they were all there. And we spent 3 days, and all the students that are supposed to go to Dedan Kimathi are actually in Kimathi learning. Whether the parent has paid or he has not paid, as they await, you know, the categorization.
Let them finish, yes.
A message from the VC of Dedan Kimathi, because I was following up. I always follow up and ensure that the students are fully supported. And so our first students are now fully settled and in third week with their classes. The extremely needy students were all admitted and given internal accommodation as they await the help classification.
Okay. That's the message from the Dedan
very well.
VC.
What that gentleman is saying from Dedan Kimathi, I think is like our two distinguished servants taking a Panadol for stomachache. Is it an emergency, this joining of the university? Is it an emergency? Why would we have these days, this generation, students joining on July 15th? Up to today, government has not done the so-called categorization. Government is still relying on the goodwill of VCs like the one of Dedan Kimathi. Where is the missing link? Okay. Is it because you are understaffed, Dr. Ingera? Is it because government has not time to categorize? Is it because the means have become too huge? Okay. What about universities that will be opening on 19th of August? And what the VCs cannot tell government is that they are suffering. Students have walked into these universities empty-handed. Government is quiet, still doing the means instrument. Help is quiet, going to the ground to help them. How are they being subsidized their meals in their hotels? How are they surviving?
Also, PS, before you answer that, there's a question from a single mother here. I'll just use their first name only, Wanjiru. She says, it's not that easy to identify vulnerable families. I'm a single mother and I know of others who work our entire lives to pay bills and top up of school fees. After high school, it's the toughest, most depressing season because of campus fees. We've gone through all the motions from deferring to having kids work to support their fees. It is unbearable. Single parents should be given, even if it is 50% discounts off the unit of university fees for both diploma and degree courses.
Okay.
Is that something to consider?
Yes, I will respond to that, but let me, as a matter of policy, just mention what Achesa was wondering about, those universities that opened early. Actually, the policy is that all universities should commence their semester, their first semester, beginning of September. And so those then that commence earlier take the responsibility to take care of the students. Okay. And that is a discussion we have had. Okay. Now, about the single mother, I want to assure her that this new funding model was especially designed to help us in special circumstances. So, for example, when it comes to the score sheet, she will be awarded more marks as part of the affirmative action.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's continue with the feedback that's coming through here.
There's one thing that they should tell us.
She will be awarded more marks as part of the affirmative action.
No, we are talking about band 1, people who pay 30,000.
Yeah.
Can they be honest enough and tell us the number of Kenyans who are in that band 1 who pay 30,000? Because if a primary school teacher can be in band 3, and primary school teacher